Welcome back to the UNICOM Engineering Flawless Execution Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Dawn Mooney. In today's episode, we are excited to dive into artificial intelligence and how it's transforming industries from the edge to the cloud. Our guest is Dennis Fallis, Global Director of AI Technical Sales at Intel Corporation, who will share insights on Intel's AI Everywhere strategy and how it's empowering clients to unlock new possibilities with AI. We will discuss a few things: the key software tools and frameworks enabling AI deployments, real-world customer use cases, and how Intel is innovating in AI accelerators. We will also explore the explosive growth of AI inference at the edge, the business models driving this shift, and how Intel's partnership with UNICOM Engineering is helping OEMs bring competitive AI solutions to market faster. Whether you are an OEM looking to integrate AI into your products or simply curious about the AI revolution underway, this episode is for you. So let's jump in and hear from Dennis on how Intel is making AI accessible and scalable for all. Dennis, thank you for being with me today. Really happy to have you here.
Thank you, Michelle. Happy to be here too.
So before we get into things, Dennis, I would love for people to hear a bit of a bio from you. Can you give us a brief bio, please?
Yeah, happy to. Thanks, Michelle. So as you mentioned earlier, I do lead global technical sales at Intel for artificial intelligence. And in that capacity, my team and I work with customers on building proof of concepts around AI and their AI journey. So we really help them get started with a proof of concept. We help them understand the tools and the flows that have to be used in that, and all the products and technologies and such. And in this role, I've been working with clients in the AI and HPC space for almost 10 years at Intel. And we've developed a long track record of really building these into production. So we've been doing this for a while, and we're thrilled to keep doing it and working with our worldwide customers.
So, of course, we're talking about AI, and that is a big chunk of what a lot of people are talking about right today. AI really is everywhere, but let's start here. Can you explain Intel's AI Everywhere vision?
Absolutely. When you think of AI today in 2024, there's been a big boom with Gen AI, especially in the last 18 months, which is highly data center driven. But when we think of AI everywhere, we think of that compute being truly everywhere, whether it's on your PC client, whether it's at the edge, on a device at the top of a telephone pole, or whether it's in a data center as well, where a lot of the growth is today. And these applications are not new. I mean, they're the same applications that much of AI in production is today, like computer vision or natural language processing, decision making, and recommendation systems. These will continue to grow. And Gen AI will only make them better because we'll have more insights into how we do that. But when we say AI everywhere, we really mean beyond the data center, because within Intel products, we've infused AI acceleration, and we've built a software stack that unifies it across that whole range. You know, whether you're running it on a PC at the edge or a data center, it's a unified software stack that allows a common interface both to Intel products and the competitive products. So we're creating an open source ecosystem that really allows for enterprises and end users to come in from one unified software stack and deploy their AI everywhere without having the concern of, where is this going to get installed? In this capacity, we have a few product lines. So in the data center, we have Xeon for CPUs. We have Gaudi for accelerators, which is where a lot of the Gen AI sits today. And then we also have Intel Core Ultra on the client PC device, all of which has AI acceleration built in. So whether you're working on the very low level code with things like CUDA, which works on NVIDIA, we have a translator for that lets you operate across NVIDIA and Intel devices, or whether you're working at the very high level like a developer in PyTorch, we also have access points to provide hardware accessibility. So AI everywhere means across PC, client, and edge with one unified software stack.
So, of course, when we have such emerging technology that is rapidly changing, it's important to have the right people in play, and partnerships can be really important. So how is Intel collaborating with partners like Dell and Unicom Engineering to bring AI-enabled solutions to OEM customers and vertical markets?
Yeah, absolutely, Michelle. So let's start with Dell and Intel and also talk about Unicom as well, all important aspects of the relationship. With Intel and Dell, it's a well-known relationship that's multi-decade that involves co-development from a design and perspective with CPU products, both PC, data center, and edge. Co-marketing, so you'll see Intel and Dell together a lot in the industry, and it crosses, I guess, all those product lines that I mentioned and the unified software stack. And Dell is increasingly building a motion around initiatives like Apex, where they're unifying all those solutions into something that's more customer ready and driven, versus just selling a hardware appliance. And this is where Dell is driving differentiation in their AI strategy. So from an Intel Dell perspective, within this Dell portfolio, they've already incorporated products like our Xeon processor that includes this AI acceleration that's built in. And that can run things like computer vision, natural language processing, recommendation engines, AI inference at the edge, and small language models today. So these Xeon Dell systems are something that many of our clients have already put out into the data center fleet that they can go run AI on today. In addition, Dell's building in our Gaudi accelerator products for where the Gen AI space is today, where these really big large language models exist to do large multi-trillion parameter model training of these models, and actually run inference in it as well. So this is where the accelerator like Gaudi 3 comes into play, which is on the Dell XC9680, and includes all the software stack that's needed to get that running. But what's truly differentiating in our relationship is around Ethernet, because the Ethernet strategy that we have together is one around using industry standard technologies like Ethernet RDMA, which provides more options for a customer versus proprietary InfiniBand. And this is what stitches together all our AI in the data center is with Ethernet, along with Dell. In addition to those product level initiatives, we have solution level initiatives we're driving with Dell around an initiative we call Tiber Edge that enable an open ecosystem around edge computing deployment to really drive down total cost of ownership around AI inferencing around our software called OpenVINO that is packaged along with this Tiber Edge inside Dell's portfolio. So think of AI at the edge and being able to manage and orchestrate all those devices very easily. And that's what Tiber accomplishes. And then on a level above that for the enterprise, we have an initiative called the Open Platform for Enterprise AI that allows customers to have a choice when deploying their enterprise AI and which software to use to determine which hardware they want to ultimately deploy. See, today when you're building a generative AI stack, you largely are limited in what hardware solutions are going to be used, namely NVIDIA GPUs. The Open Platform for Enterprise AI will allow a choice for an enterprise customer to choose their ISV of choice that also will pull the appropriate hardware, whether they're deploying on Xeon or Gaudi or alternatives today, without having to stick with only one option, which is currently the mainstream. Now, UNICOM and Intel also have a really special relationship with Dell, as being a valued Dell OEM partner. For example, UNICOM and Dell have a unique relationship around immersion and liquid cooling, where some of these generative AI customers that are deploying these multi-thousand GPU and accelerator installations are realizing it's very hard to cool it. And so they've come up with innovative techniques along with UNICOM to be able to immerse the entire system and keep that cooled and operate more reliably than it would be air cooled or with a direct liquid cooled solution that's more traditional. So we see this immersion cooling trend that Unicom and Dell are spearheading as something that's really going to take off as sustainability and TCO become much more important. And as the power density of these systems go up and up, the uniqueness that Unicom offers with immersion cooling and Dell is something that more clients are going to want.
So everything sounds great, but we've all heard the phrase, probably the proof is in the pudding, right? So can we talk about maybe some examples of real world customer applications benefiting from Intel AI today in areas like some that you may have mentioned, security and surveillance, manufacturing, healthcare, et cetera? What do things look like in real time?
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. I mean, these applications today, what's most interesting is if you look at AI in production, most all of it is not Gen AI. It's the AI that we use today, and we don't even know that we're using, much less in the future how much more of it we'll be using. That's going to be AI everywhere and all around us. So, I mean, I can think of three top of mind. Starting in the healthcare space, we've partnered with Siemens Healthineers around radiation therapy image simulation. So we actually are helping the MRI devices evaluate tumors. And by using the fourth generation of Xeon processors with this AI acceleration built in, they get a 35x improvement in latency over the previous techniques. All of this with our OpenVINO software for AI inference. So what that does is it actually takes these images and high speed is able to view them for potential tumors and the evaluation of the growth of that tumor in a much quicker way than any oncologist can do that. So it makes the job of the oncologist much faster and easier. And this is a technique that does not require Gen AI and is in production today. So that's the Siemens one. And in manufacturing, we've partnered with a customer called Egan Machine Vision that builds tools and engineering services in manufacturing. And so in manufacturing, there's a lot of applications for computer vision. And similar to the Siemens example, being able to see and have vision over your machines, lines, and factories gives you more opportunity to run inference over that video and look for anomalies. Additionally, now with AI technologies, we can create digital twins of that specific manufacturing device and actually determine via the digital twin when there may be an error or when there may be upcoming maintenance without having to actually do any work on the floor itself. So AI in manufacturing, again, not a new technique, not one that requires Gen AI, but a lot of real usage today that can be done with simple computer vision. And then in security and surveillance, we have partners such as Secure OS VLOX, which does license plate detection. I can tell you, I live at my home airport in Raleigh, North Carolina. We've had license plate detection in the parking lot as we leave that automatically pays my bill. And it's done through very simple AI with AI inference on the video of the license plate, something that many ISVs are deploying today with AI in the edge, with Intel and with Dell using Xeon today with OpenVINO that is highly scalable and production ready today. So those are three that I'm happy to see move into production, Michelle, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all the Gen AI ones move here in the future as they get out of the POC stage.
And thank you, Dennis, because I think people hearing those examples, it really kind of puts things into better perspective. So moving on, Intel has always had a strong position in the CPU market and is now introducing GPUs and accelerators. How will accelerators like the Gaudi line meet the demands of AI moving forward?
Oh, absolutely. So CPUs and GPUs will be required together to run Gen AI as these models get larger and in the future. So we know at Intel that we have to have a strong product line like Gaudi in order to accelerate this AI training and inference for Gen AI. So today, and as you probably heard in my talk so far, Gen AI is strictly in POC stage. Only 10% of customers have moved Gen AI from POC to production. And what's the main reason for that? It's complex, it's costly, it's difficult to get hardware. And this is why we're enabling AI everywhere and providing more choice with Gaudi. Now, we think that 10% number is going to quickly grow to almost 80% in 3 years. So 80% of customers will have Gen AI in production because we're going to overcome all of these challenge aspects that I mentioned with cost, availability of product, and actually specialization in engineers and techniques to actually productize this. So Gaudi will address this market and compete with NVIDIA and AMD by offering 2x the inference performance of NVIDIA this year in 2024 with our Gaudi 3 line. And that TCO benefit is going to be immediately realized by customers who acquire the Dell XE9680 system. Additionally, the software stack there enables AI developers who come in at the highest level, usually at PyTorch, to come right in and immediately start working with Gaudi, just as they were, previous generation competitive hardware architectures, which also came in from that same level PyTorch, which is a common abstraction in AI. So our Gaudi line is here for Gen AI. It's here for training and inferencing of the large models. It's intended to compete with NVIDIA and offers 2x the TCO benefit against it. So we're thrilled to bring this to market with Dell this year.
I wanted to dive a little deeper with something you alluded to earlier. Of course, bottom line is so important with all of this, right? And we are seeing some clear savings with the use of AI. So can you discuss first of all, the business models and then economic factors driving more AI workloads to the edge. How does this play to Intel's strengths? Because, not only you're talking about efficiency, you're talking about a savings in time. Time is money. And then, of course, once again, that bottom line. So can you give us any insight there?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to AI and when it comes to compute in general, there's a heavy preference to pull it to the edge, to pull the compute close to the user as possible. And our CEO, Pat Gelsinger, speaks about three laws that really enable this pull towards the edge. And those three laws are economics, physics, and the land. So let's walk through each of these. So if you look at the law of economics, it's too hard, too expensive to build that infrastructure all the way back at the data center level. It's too costly. The cost of a AI server today, as classified by leading accelerators, is 10x the cost of a server with just CPUs. So that's an incremental cost that is an order of magnitude more than what budgets have previously allocated to this. So the law of economics of deploying AI strictly in a data center does not create any sort of business model that's long-term viable. So that's one rule. The second law is the law of physics, which is really just time. I mean, it takes time to move that compute inference from the processing time in the data center all the way to the user at the edge. And we can see these, it just does not happen in real time. And we've seen this develop over the years with common graphics techniques of the past, where you did things like virtual desktop interface, where it was running in the server in a cloud, and you would wait and wait and wait for this 3D model to spin, for example. That's because of the law of physics. It just takes time from the compute all the way to the customer to see this. And so that's the second law. And the third law is the law of the land. And this is especially important in this current economic age, where more and more nationalism is encouraging governments to look at the data of the country and to keep that confidential and secure, just like the enterprise is doing with their own data. So the law of the land, the law of physics, and the laws of economics are all driving this pull towards the edge. And as edge becomes increasingly important, AI, we believe, is the dominant workload that's going to drive that. And over 50% of edge computing deployments are expected to run AI as the primary workload in 2026, compared to only 5% today. And AI is the primary workload, right? So the AI inference and the computer vision is now the reason for the whole point of the application compute to begin with. It wasn't just computer vision, but is what data you're going to gather from it, and that's the AI.
So here we are, we're almost wrapping up. People out there might be listening and saying, okay, this all sounds great. So final question here, what guidance or best practices can you share for Unicom Engineering's OEM customers who want to deploy AI in their solutions to help them get everything you just mentioned? They want to get started on the right path with Intel. Can you explain how Intel's comprehensive portfolio, combined with Unicom Engineering's expertise, enables customers to really deliver truly unique solutions faster and then, of course, more reliably?
Yes, absolutely. So as a call to action to Unicom Engineering and OEM partners, we want you to engage your customers so they understand that their AI journey does not start with a AI server. It starts with their data. It starts with understanding what data do they have and what do they want to do with it. What are they trying to accomplish? Do they want to do computer vision and AI inference, like many of the examples you described today? Do they want to do natural language processing? Do they want to run a chatbot for internal use cases? What do they want to do? And that's ultimately going to drive the purchase in hardware. Today, we believe that model is backwards. The hardware purchase is being done first, and the application is being thought of later. That's why we think the current practice is unsustainable. So job one is to understand what the client's need is and what applications they actually want to go run based on the data they have. Understand your customers' data and their analytics and what they're doing with it today. Where do they have success? Because likely that's where they can get AI benefit to multiply that success moving forward. So give them examples like the ones we described here at manufacturing with Siemens, or security and surveillance, Secure OS. Those are good examples to get them thinking about what they can do with their data. I can tell you that within Intel, we've deployed a Gen AI solution for our sales people where they can look up, just like a ChatGPT interface, a question on how to build a certain technology or appliance for a customer. And that Gen AI solution will search the entire database of all Intel confidential collateral that's available in our company and map that to an answer with the aid of an LLM, like a chat GPT, to make the answer come out in a readable format, all while keeping our data secure. So this Gen AI tool, we call it Vita, is a perfect example that many of our customers can deploy today internally to take advantage of their documents and make them more usable across the board, such that our internal employees are not hunting for information and can use tools like this that'll hunt for them and actually give them a response that's human readable. So we ask that you start with your customers' data, and we ask that you work with UNICOM engineering to really help enable your customer on that journey. UNICOM engineering, along with Intel, can help you with that. So we encourage you to do that. We have expertise in this area, and we're looking forward to working with you.
Dennis Fallis, Global Director AI Technical Sales for Intel Corporation. Dennis, a lot of exciting things happening. Thank you for sharing that information. I'm sure there will, no doubt, people will want to learn more. So appreciate your time and being here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
And thanks again to all of you listening to the Unicom Engineering Flawless Execution podcast. Once again, if you have any questions, you can visit unicomengineering.com/AI for more details there. I'm your host, Michelle Dawn Mooney. We encourage you to subscribe to this podcast to hear more engaging conversations like the one you heard today. I'm your host, Michelle Dawn Mooney. We hope to connect with you on another podcast soon.